Hello there, and welcome to another of Andre's Artist Profiles. Today, I am doing an artist that I actually just heard only about an hour ago is actually their birthday. As you can see, I go by a site to do this, and I like going by birthdays because it gives me a chance to kind of subdivide my CD collection into doing these profiles. And this is like Joan Armatrading in my previous artist profile. This is an artist that I am very shocked and dismayed that I don't have more work by. There was a time where his music was available here very readily, very easily, and from the period of his career that I enjoy the most. However, at the time, and this is probably one of the most personal things I'll say on one of these, I didn't have enough money for them, and now they're relatively hard to find, but that should be remedied. And like Joan Armatrading, I might make a video later for this artist with what I have in the future. But today I'm going to be doing Donald Byrd, and the reason why I'm profiling Donald Byrd today is because of his birthday and the fact that on February 4th of this year, he passed away at the age of 80. Now, I know I did my George Duke artist profile very early when I started doing these profiles, I should add, when he died, but I wasn't doing them, and I prefer to celebrate life, as you know. Donald Byrd was a magnificent figure to me. Like Miles Davis, he had a number of distinct periods and was on many labels as a recording artist. He actually recorded for a lot of labels doing bebop type material in the 50s and in the 60s, and in the 70s he was on Blue Note Records and began recording fusion albums, the earliest of which I don't have, and they were very mild sounding, actually. There was an album he did called Electric Bird, which was a lot like Miles Davis's Bitches Brew. Anyway, I only have 3 Donald Byrd albums on CD, on vinyl, on anything. And I'm not counting the Blackbirds either. I'll get to them at another time. But I digress. Here's what I have for Donald Byrd. This is probably his most famous and most commercially successful fusion album. A jazz funk classic called Blackbird. This began his collaboration with the Mizell brothers, Fonz and Larry. Wonderful producers for the jazz funk genre. As you can see, Joe Samples on this album, members of the Crusaders, as a matter of fact, Harvey Mason, Freddie Perrin. A lot of these guys actually played on Motown for the Jackson 5 too. This is a wonderful album from 1973. It kind of started, the whole jazz funk thing the Crusaders did and all that. It really was a very, very important record for the jazz funk movement. Highly, highly recommend this one. The next album, I can't help thinking about a musician I used to know who's no longer here from D.C., named Nigel Hall. He was obsessed with this album, especially the fact that it was utilized a lot by the hip-hop artist Madlib. Donald Byrd, Stepping Into Tomorrow. An amazing song. Actually, an amazing song, but another amazing album. I believe this is the follow-up to Blackbird. There may have been another album between it, actually. There's a lot I don't have. And this is another wonderful jazz funk album. Really, really strong and contemporary production. This almost sounds like it could have been recorded as like a retro fusion record in the 90s. Really crisp, really well produced, and that's the one thing I like about Donald Byrd. And of course, his playing is wonderful. Now, obviously, during this time, and in the 60s as well, he was teaching music at a number of universities, such as Oberlin, Queens, and Howard University, where he formed the group The Blackbirds, who did Walking in Rhythm. But I'm going to do The Blackbirds another time because I don't want to do one artist who has one CD. So the only other Donald Byrd album I got from the BMG Music Club when they were going, called Rare Groove Series. I believe this album, Caricatures, was his last on Blue Note. Very much in the style of those later two. It's got the Mizell brothers on it. This came out in 1976. If you can look on the back, it has the BMG logo. This is, I believe, his last album on Blue Note. So that's what I have for Donald Byrd. And I wanted to dedicate this to members of the Blackbirds, all of the people on the faculty of Howard University, where Donald Byrd was most noted for teaching and forming the Blackbirds, and to the general atmosphere of professionalism, academia, and sheer funkiness that Donald Byrd brought to his music. So, happy birthday to the late Donald Byrd, sadly posthumously. And I wanted to also shout out to all his admirers, particularly my good friend Henrik Hopkins, who's always talking about the Blackbirds, always referencing Donald Byrd. Well, not literally always, but quite often. And I wanted to dedicate this specifically to you, Henrik, if you're seeing this. So, for all you other viewers of Andre's artist profile, I'll see you next time.